Kiboo is a new social banking concept, and we're focused specifically on the teen and young adult market. The idea for the business came about practicing law for 8 years. I was a tax and trust and estates attorney. I also have 7 nieces and nephews. One day I took my nephew to a Knick game, and I think he might have been 14 at the time, and I took out my flip phone to tell my sister that the game's over. And he says, "Why don't you have the iPhone?" I said, "Do you know how much the iPhone costs?" He said, "I don't know, but I have an iPhone." And I said, "Well, then you shouldn't have an iPhone if you don't know how much it costs." And we went back and forth, and over that time I was also practicing law with high net worth individuals, and just a disconnect between how young people were living their lives and people who were very successful people, parents, grandparents, teaching their kids about money, and they were raising children who were not fiscally and socially and financially responsible, and they didn't understand why. And what I realized was that there's just a disconnect between how they were living their lives and how they thought money should always be by their side, and the infrastructure where banks are, where why do you have to walk into the bank? It's my money. And there just wasn't a connection, and I thought that there was a big opportunity to start a new community and a new engagement around money, focused specifically on the needs of young people. I started the company. I'm a little bit different from an entrepreneur in that while we just launched in the US, which is a big milestone for us, it's taken me 5 years to get to this point. So how I started with a concept and a whiteboard to take it all the way to something that can come to life. And Kiboo and what we're doing is such a big idea, and how do you make it into something that's tangible that can actually get done? And part of our issues of why it took 5 years is that it wasn't just if I put my mind to this and I focus. It took so many moving parts that we had to get into line. It takes well, in the US, it's an FDIC insured bank account. It's a processor. It's all of these things that you need to fit into place. So it took me a lot of time to understand it. I didn't come from the banking world, but most of my time was with spending in focus groups, spending on college campuses, understanding what their needs are. And what we did was we started building a front-end solution and building it backwards. So we had essentially just a fake bank that we can have people play around with and understand. I wish I could share goals, you know. How come I can't create goals? Things like that. So that we started playing around with some of these ideas. And eventually, late last year, beginning of this year, we've launched in the US with a real money, real bank accounts, and with students in the US. The timeline, I think, is different for everybody. So for me, it took me 8 years, and I quit my job as a lawyer. I couldn't work and start Kiboo. I'm one of those people that's all in or all out. So, and when you are building out a concept, I believe that it's very hard to do both at the same time, especially as a lawyer where I was working all the time anyway, nights and weekends, that there was no time. And my practice in and of itself, I wasn't able to think beyond my task that was in front of me. So I had to quit my job. I gave myself a year, and that was so it's one of those myths of an entrepreneur that overnight you're going to be able to do something. In 2008, so let's say it's January 2008, Bear Stearns hit, Lehman hit. The ideas to actually build a bank from scratch, which is what I started doing with a partner, all of that went out the window, you know. And it wasn't until when December hit of 2008, my partner at the time said, "This is never going to work, I got to go." And I was ready to say, I have enough, I've put enough aside, I'm going to give it another year. And I was able to raise some friends and family money in 2009, and I was going out to California, and I started working with the product development team out there and really getting excited about this new banking experience only for young people. And we started really starting to visualize it and what it would look like. And that's my time that I spent in 2009. 2010, we were ready to go get a bank. And that took some process. I've probably met with, in the US, 20 banks of all different shapes and sizes. That was probably the hardest part. And so today we're live. First California Bank is our issuer. And that's a big milestone. That was really a big milestone, getting one on board to say, we want to try this. We have a bank who holds our money for us. They keep it safe, secure, it's insured. We are not a bank, so when you go to Kiboo.com today, you don't see FDIC. You see FDIC, First California Bank. Any money that you put in is held with that bank. All that we are, which I don't want to minimize what we do, is we're the entire front-end engagement. So we make it fun. And so how we do that is when you open up an account with us, you get a way to spend it with your MasterCard card. You get a saving component. You get a way to give. And we build planning and budgets around your transactions and your spending. We allow you to create goals around your saving components. You share those goals with your friends and your family where they can then chip in towards those goals. Giving, we have, this month, for example, is clean water. And we tell people, did you know that $20 can provide clean drinking water to one person in a developing country for 20 years? And through us, you can give just $1. And Charity Water is our partner in this, in clean water. And $5,000 that we can raise, we provide a well in Africa for a village. And our community starts to see the pictures of the well over the course of 12, 18 months through Charity Water that's doing that. I mean, those are what we call bringing people closer to their money. Parents is the other component of it. So what we learn is that the parents were like, I don't know what I'm doing with my own money. How am I supposed to teach my kids? And so what we've done is provide an entire interface for parents to be able to communicate with their kids around their money. Easily send money back and forth, being able to see their goals, being able to see visually, Johnny just is making more money than he's spending. Keep up the good, give him a great job. If my dad knew that I was on budget, that would be a whole other story. I wouldn't be in trouble for breaking curfew or something. But we provide an environment for people to have discussions. And really, money is just currency to get people to where they want to go. And what we think Kiboo is doing is building a community where they can have supportive advice. We have a library of content that has, like 120 different articles, videos, all these different things. And it's not around compounded interest. It's around, should I buy or lease a car? The basic things that you want to know. So when we know that you're saving for a car, we could start to feed you the information that you need.